Patrick, you ready? Okay. Council, good evening, and good evening, guests. Welcome to the Tuesday, May 4th, 2021 City Council meeting. We are filming this and also streaming live on YouTube, I believe. So first we'll stand, remove our hats, and bow our heads and recite the Lord's Prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Dan DePillo.
Here.
Bartlett.
Here.
Chatham.
Here.
Rampy.
Here.
Lucy DePillo.
Here.
Creech.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here.
Council, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes from last council meeting dated April 20th? If so, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes and any discussion following that.
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay. Council, any discussion, any modifications or amendments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, I'd like to invite Chief John Wallace up. We have an honor tonight to swear in 2 new City of Madison police officers.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. It truly is an honor. Each and every time we swear to new officers, we look to our future, and as we get to know them, we realize that it's right with the DPD. So tonight, my honor is to have 2 sworn in, and we will first start with Kayla Moore. Kayla, if you and your family, if you'd like to come up, please. Okay. All right. Step up in front of the podium.
Hi, Kayla. Welcome.
We got your uniforms yesterday. Put some pressure on some people to get these uniforms in, but they got them in yesterday, so.
Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, Kayla Taylor Moore,
I, Kayla Taylor Moore,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of a police officer for the Madison Police Department
of a police officer of the Madison Police Department
to the best of my ability and according to law, so help me God.
to the best of my ability and according to law, so help me God.
Congratulations. That's your
Now, Kayla's sister, Kayla, will pin her badge on. I told her to pre-drill those holes. We almost lost an officer one time. Uh-oh. You're hard to do. There we go. All right. Good job.
Congratulations.
Okay, next it's my honor to welcome Graham Heffelfinger and his family. Up front, please. Bring the whole person on, Graham. Got to show you how that thing works.
That is gonna
Yes.
trip somebody.
Yeah,
Get somebody.
How you doing? How are you? Hi. Grant, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Graham Heffelfinger,
I, Graham,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of a police officer for the Madison Police Department
of a police officer of the Madison Police Department
to the best of my ability and according to law, so help me God.
to the best of my ability and so help me God.
Congratulations. Sign right here.
Thank you.
Okay, Graham's wife, Malini, is going to do the honor of taking his back. You notice the wife doesn't worry as much about that as the sister does. So.
Graham and Kayla, good luck, and thank you for your future public service in the city of Madison. Chief, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to business for tonight. We have one ordinance on first reading.
The ordinance on first reading is ordinance number 2021-6, and that's sponsored by Councilman Patrick Tebby. This is an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, amending certain sections of the Park and Recreation Ordinance. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana has previously passed an ordinance regulating city parks. And whereas it has come to the attention of the Common Council that the City of Madison, that certain sections of said ordinance require amendments. And whereas the Common Council of the City of Madison desires to amend the Madison Code 97.02A to reflect that Park Board Commissioners may serve with compensation that is permitted pursuant to all applicable state statutes and rules. Whereas the Common Council desires to amend Madison Code 97.15 to add section E to state as follows, that the park located on the east end of Vaughn Drive that has been commonly referred to as J.C. Park shall now be named Damon L. Welch Park to honor former Mayor Damon L. Welch and his many contributions to the City of Madison, Indiana. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Madison desires to amend City of Madison Code 97.18 to state that it shall be illegal for any persons to possess alcoholic beverage in any city park with the exception of Sunrise Golf Course so long as alcohol is sold pursuant to the rules and regulations of the State of Indiana pursuant to a city-owned alcohol permit. Furthermore, alcohol may be permitted at other city parks if said park is utilized for a festival, concert, or other activity that is approved by the City of Madison, and all rules and regulations of the State of Indiana are followed to allow the sale or consumption of alcohol. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Madison desires to delete City of Madison Code 97.31 to allow the Park Board to set rules and fees regarding the city campground. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the City of Madison Code of Ordinances are hereby amended as written above. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its adoption by the Common Council, signature of the mayor, enrollment in the Book of Ordinances, and publication of notices as required by law.
Council, I know that's first reading. I just want to make a couple of notes here, and that is this, what you're seeing, like a lot of the other amendments to ordinances, is just the amended sections as part of a bigger ordinance. The actual Parks ordinance, Parks and Recreation ordinance, was initially approved by council in 1978, and it was last amended 30 years ago in 1991. But what we're trying to do is bring the ordinance really up to date with really the way the Parks Department is being operated. So that's a little bit of background there, and we'll have more discussion on second read. Council, are there any reports, recommendations, and other business from any standing, select, or study committees of the City Council? No. Okay, hearing none. Moving on, let's invite the most handsome chief in Madison, John Wallace, back up here to give a report.
Well, since I'm the only one I've got that locked in. You know, I failed to mention, I should have both Kayla do serve in our military as well as reserves, so we very much appreciate it. Couple things we have going on is our hiring process. We are in the very final stages of hiring 2 new officers as well. I anticipate we'll be giving conditional offers appointment formally at our next merit board meeting, which will be a week from Wednesday. And with them, and with Graham and Kayla, with our new hire, we actually are going to send them to New Albany for the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. It's something for the very first time. New Albany has got the blessings to hold one. It'll be academy certified through ILAA. There will be a few sessions in which they'll have to go to the academy, probably for driving and firearms and those type of things. But they'll actually be going to New Albany Police Department for a majority of their academy, which I'm excited about because the academy, I mean, right now it's just got a huge backlog. I don't know how many's going to be in that class, several hundred. We sent them down to New Albany. It's going to be a lot of one-on-one training. That class is going to be 20 people. So we're excited to be sending them down there. We know the instructors. We know they're going to get a very good education, and it's something that we're going to try. And it will also be a money saving for the department as well to send them down there. They can come home every night. So we're looking forward to trying that, trying a little something different. One thing that we'll be opening up very soon, that will be on the city website, is crime mapping. Crime mapping is essentially going to be, what it describes. Any calls that we get are automatically will be put on the map. So if you wonder what's going on in your neighborhood or down the street, you'll be able to click on. There'll be icons of the calls. You click on and see what call you had next door to your house last night, or what calls are going on in your neighborhood. Are you having a lot of thefts from vehicles or those type of things? So that will be accessible to all of our citizens, and it's going to be accessible through the city website. So we're excited about getting that going. That again is at no extra charge to the taxpayers. That is part of the system that we already have up and running, and it will be installing this new app. And I think people will enjoy being able to get on and see what's going on throughout their neighborhood and throughout the city. Our firearms training is coming up in June. That class is full. It filled up pretty quickly. We have 20 in that class, so we anticipate holding several more throughout the summer. There's been a lot of interest, and there's a lot of interest in firearms and ownership, and we just want to do what we can to make that safe and give everybody the opportunity to learn how to use their weapons. So there will be 4 hours of classroom and 4 hours of actually on-range training. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm going to finish by a sentence that we had yesterday on our very first sexual predator that went to trial, Everett McGill. McGill was found guilty of the sexual misconduct, the minor, and the solicitation. He was given 28 years. He was given 28 years because he has an extensive criminal history of child molestation in the past, involuntary manslaughter. Matter of fact, Mr. McGill had an entire life pretty much of being a criminal. And I guess I got the greatest satisfaction at the sentencing hearing when Judge Moat stated during his handing down of the sentence that had not law enforcement intervened, stepped in, another 14-year-old girl would have likely, more than likely, been molested by this guy. And having heard that and looking around the faces of the officers that worked so hard, which is ended up being the entire department, that just makes you about as proud as you can be. We was able to take a proactive approach and get this predator off the streets, and we have 19 more to go. But you culminate all that together, there's a lot of 14-year-old, 13-year-old girls that are not going to fall victims to these guys anyway. So that I think I said it all, and I just wanted to bring that up. I know I talked quite a bit about that operation, but wow, that powerful what the judge said yesterday. Appreciate him, sentence he handed down, and we appreciate our prosecutor David Sutter, who worked very hard with us, and he does an outstanding job. So With that, I'll take any questions.
Chief, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
First off, I'm so excited about the crime mapping, because I think it's something we've needed for decades.
Yes, sir.
But I'm wondering if, will any historical data be put on there as well, or will it just be from here, this point forward?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I believe, it's my understanding that it'll be from this point forward.
Okay.
But, you know, if there is something we can add, then, we'll certainly do so.
Great.
And I don't want to take any credit for that. Major Ben McKay is overseeing it and just doing a wonderful job. This is his baby, and he's picked it up and he's running with it, but certainly will be for the benefit of all our citizens.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief also mentioned, I think it's worth mentioning that another significant project that probably took a couple years to get fully implemented was the computers inside all the police cars.
Yes,
That is fully operational.
that is, yeah. Officers have that ability. I mean, live feed of all the calls, you know, throughout the entire county, would be medical, state and or county. And then, you know, of course, the officers have that ability now to run their own information in the cars as well.
And the real benefit here is the fact that, you know, they can do their police reports while they're out, rather than being, you know, sequestered, so to speak, in the office. And a greater police presence, I think, also is a great deterrent.
Yes.
So all the things that you've been doing with regard to staffing, manpower, training, utilization of technology, evidence handling, expansion of detective resources, drug and human trafficking interdiction, that's just a short list of what they've been doing in the past year and a half. So I think you've done a fantastic job, and we're very proud of the police department.
I'm just fortunate to have a good staff.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite our city planning and preservation coordinator, Nicole Shell.
No problem, Sergeant. Good evening. You all have my written report, so I'm just going to touch on the highlights. Crystal Beach bids were opened for works in April. We received 3 bids. The bids range from $2.5 million to $3 million. So we're still reviewing those in-house, and hopefully we'll award that contract shortly. Work under Stellar will begin at Ohio Theater probably next week as soon as the rain lightens up. Let's see. Riverside Tower Lofts announced that they are having a grand opening on May 13th at 6 p.m. I'd like to invite everyone to attend that. We've got confirmation that Lieutenant Governor Crouch will be in attendance at that event. So that really kicks off that project. It's one of the first that's completed construction, and they'll already have residents in there, but they're going to finish the final before that event. Other projects in progress, we awarded a contract to inventory all of our sidewalks. So you may see a team going around town to rate all of our sidewalks. That will include taking pictures and have people on the ground. So if you see somebody randomly walking through your neighborhood looking at the sidewalks, don't be alarmed. They're doing their job. PACE, happy to report that we've had a good number of applications submitted in this last quarter. The PACE committee is set to review 13 of them at their next meeting. Just to give you a year-to-date kind of numbers on PACE, for the public funds, we've awarded just over $200,000 in grant funds, and that was matched by over $400,000 from the owners. So we've got a $2.4 ratio for every dollar given from the city to Edward County. 100,000 of those grants have gone towards dilapidated structures, and 55,000 of those have gone in our target areas. As you may know, May is Preservation Month, so we're happy to announce that we received a grant from Indiana Humanities to create a QR code tour that's going to be focusing on really bringing awareness to historic preservation and all of our great properties downtown. The Historic District Board of Review is also set to give out awards at their May meeting. And then finally, in the office, just to give you an idea of how busy our office is, in March alone, the building inspector's office issued 11 building permits with a total construction cost of just over 1.5 million. So we're pretty busy, and I don't expect April to be any different. We do our month-end reports at the end of the month, so those weren't ready for tonight, but I will have those at the next one. And that's all I have to report, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. There's a lot going on. All right, Deputy Mayor McGee, she here?
Good evening, Council. Just a couple of quick things for you. I sent an email to all of you earlier. You may not have even had a chance to see it yet. Trying to put a schedule together for the budget this year, which is, when you look at the dates, it's pretty much the rest of the year. So we'll either do 3rd or 4th week in July if one of those works for all of you. And then looking at 1st, 2nd, and 3rd reading, we would be done by October 5th, which would give us some extra room if we have any changes or anything we need to do prior to the November 1st deadline. So a couple of you have already responded, but respond to me and let me know if both of those July dates work. That would be best, because if somebody can't do one, then I know that you can do the other. So when you have a chance on that, then we'll get it on the calendar and we'll start working that direction on budget. The other thing I wanted to I left hard copies of this for you. They're just talking points about the Main Street landscaping plan. I've been contacted by 3 people. 2 of them are Main Street business owners, 1 was not. Just to clarify some of the things that we plan to do, want to do, and some of the concerns going forward with it. I won't read through all that. We'll put this out on social media. We'll put it on the webpage. People are welcome to call me if they have questions or want more specific information. But the hanging baskets that have been growing all winter in greenhouse are going to be put up by the end of this week. And I've heard that they are beautiful and they are in full summer bloom. So excited to see those go up. And then we will start preparing beds from that point forward. So those are just 2 things that are going on in my office right now, but happy to take questions on this or anything else that you have. Thank you.
Ben, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the balance of our agenda. Joe?
Next ordinance is ordinance on 3rd reading, ordinance number 2021-4, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, amending the city code on golf carts. And that's chapter 70 and section 70.04. And before we go to roll call, I was contacted by a couple council members. There was some clarification on in section 70.04, section C, the last sentence there where it says golf carts may cross at Main Street only at intersections controlled by automatic stoplights, and then there was a suggestion for a period there, and and I think if we do that, then that makes an incomplete sentence. So my recommendation would be, if you do want to change that, it would be a period and then say golf carts may cross at right angles between Walnut Street and Allenback Avenue and Orchard Street and Green Road. So that would be my suggestion. That would need to be made in the form of an amendment. You can amend at 3rd reading, but it does have to be a unanimous vote. So at this point in time, if somebody wants to make a proposed amendment to reflect what I read, you can do so and have a vote on that.
I would offer that amendment to say golf carts may cross at Main Street only at intersections controlled by automatic stoplights, period. Additionally, or without the word additionally, if you prefer, golf carts may cross, and I put in Highway 421 at the intersection of Allenback and Walnut Streets, and Highway 7 at Orchard Street and Green Road.
That would be fine, just as long as you can get that language to, Mr. Barry.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for that amendment. Is there any discussion?
It's just a verbiage change. I mean, just adding an S to where it says golf carts may cross at Cliffy Drive at the intersection of Wilson Avenue and Craigmont. Shouldn't that be intersection be plural because it's more than one?
Sure, we'll just call that a scrivener's error. Okay, is there any other comments on Councilman Bartlett's amendment? Any comments from the public? We'll have a roll call vote.
On the amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Dan Datillo,
Yes.
Rampy,
Yes.
Chatham,
Yes.
Lucy Datillo,
Yeah.
Kavanaugh, yes, Creech.
Yes.
Okay, that passes as unanimous votes. So now we need a roll call vote on the third reading with the amendments incorporated.
Rampy,
Yes.
Chatham,
Yes.
Dan Datillo,
Yes.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh, yes, Lucy Datillo,
No.
Creech.
Yes.
Passes. The next ordinance is a bill on second reading, and it's ordinance number 21-5, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Lucy Datillo. It is an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, establishing the Phoenix House Non-Reverting Fund. Is there any comment from either the public or the council, or it looks like Deputy Mayor McGee may have something to say, or she's here to answer
You
questions?
just hear me as a question.
Is there any comment or questions from the council on this?
No.
Okay. Is there anything from the public? That ordinance will move on to third reading.
Council, is there any miscellaneous item that needs to be addressed before council or the public tonight? And we'll open it up to one of my favorite parts of every city council meeting, and that is our public forum part. So anybody from the community who wishes to address the mayor's office or council, please come to the podium and share with us what's on your mind tonight. Quiet group tonight. Okay. Well, the other. Oh, yes. Yes, please.
See, I have to encourage her. It's okay to speak.
Come on up. Please state your name and maybe address and.
Elise Detmer, 105 East 3rd Street. I just wondered if anyone knows what's going to happen to the 4 houses on West Street that was previously owned by King Brothers. That look pretty bad right now.
Yes. So we are working on that with the new owners, which is Trilogy, who owns the senior center there. Nicole had already stepped out. I'd let her give this update, but she met with them a couple weeks ago because we are concerned about the nature and just the appearance of those properties and the condition of the properties. And they have been evaluating their own efforts to either sell or renovate the properties. We certainly have a PACE program that could assist them. It is part of the original strategic investment plan associated with Stellar. There's been some monies set aside for their restoration, but as of right now, there is not a concrete plan or timetable for the restoration. And I share the concerns you have because of the condition that they continue to be in, and certainly being in a high-profile driving area on West Street. So we have a lot of work to do, and as part of our continued efforts about blight elimination, those are conversations that we have constantly with the owner of the property. to help create incentives and also offer assistance to get there. So I wish I could give you a timetable. All I can really say is what I have said, which is we are having regular conversations with them. And that didn't happen for a couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I don't need to say this to
No.
Lisa Ferguson,
Yep.
and I live at 718 East Second. I've been bugging Patrick, because he's my rep. Same question, same thing. I don't know how many people are aware. Patrick's probably got it on his text message. When we moved here, those two houses on East were a part of your blight plan. We read into it, knew all about it, thought it was gonna be taken care of. If you're standing at what's gonna be the new Marriott, and you look out the right, you're looking at the back of two of the worst houses in downtown. And those are the houses on East Street. And I think most people just go up and down East and you don't even realize, because they're so covered up with, I don't know, rubbish, I don't know. But if you're a walker, then you notice everything in town, which has the bad part too. But for it to be literally, you're standing, if you stand at the Marriott, look to the right, you're looking at the back of both of those houses that are caving in, front and back sides. And I just keep thinking, is the Marriott gonna do something about this? Like, is somebody, on the East End, of course, we're wanting all the attention down on the East End, like y'all hear from all the people on the West End and Middle End and all that. But, that's something I've been talking to Patrick about, and we're excited about the East End, good things that are going on with, the property you're purchasing and all of that. At the same time, I've sent Patrick pictures of the buzzards that are in that house. It's the Welcome to Madison house. And I guess a year ago, somebody was gonna work on that. There's no windows or doors. There are homeless people in there, because I have pictures of their camp there too. So, as beautiful it is to say Welcome to Madison and the money that's being spent there, that house is, I guess it's salvageable. I didn't think the one down on West Main was from the fire a year ago, but that's been amazing to watch them restore that property, down by the Apothecary or whatever that end of town. But, I'm big about enhancing our town, and one way of doing that is asking people to take care of blight. And on my note that I always say is, please always think, anytime there's a city enhancement, the American flag is the most beautiful enhancement we can have. So that Welcome to Madison sign would just, I told Bob I'll dance in the streets the day they put a flagpole up there. And I don't think that was a good thing for me to tell him, so, anyway.
Listen, thank you for those remarks, and blight elimination is important to us, and part of the challenge is that these are private properties, and some attract investors who are willing to invest the money. Destroying a historic structure, whether it's contributing or non-contributing, is difficult. And what we've been trying to do is target areas and make improvements there. And with the report that Nicole gave earlier today, and with the success that we had with the PACE program last year, we're seeing a lot of progress in restoring dilapidated structures that have been once blighting the neighborhood. That progress just doesn't happen overnight, so we'll just continue to work at it. If those properties that you're mentioning, and frankly I think I know which two you're talking about, if they're unsafe structures, then what we'll do is have our building inspector look to see if there's some action being taken through an ordinance with regard to unsafe structures. If it's not an unsafe structure, generally what happens is we're appealing to the property owner to sell the property so that somebody else could take on the restoration project. There's generally a cost benefit and economic analysis that's done, because restoring old dilapidated properties downtown are extremely expensive and often outweighs or exceeds the fair market value of the property when they're done. So we'll look into those two properties. Yeah.
It's 114. I've got Patrick's text still on my phone.
Did you say East Street? Please go.
Yes, it's East.
East Street.
Yeah.
114?
114 is one of them, so I guess the other's 112 or 116, but there's no number on it to know.
Okay.
So.
The other house you mentioned on corner of 2nd and Harrison, that does have a new owner, and they were at the historic board, I believe, the last meeting, and their application was tabled. They're looking into some other materials to go about redoing them.
Yeah, that corridor is getting some work at that intersection, the house across the street from it, the work that we're doing on Harrison, the new filling station liquor stores, and that old service station that's there, the house that you mentioned, Councilman Seminole, across the street from there, and it is happening. It just doesn't happen as quickly as we like it. And there are some structures that that have PACE grants, where the progress on their restoration has been slowed down. And here we're in an environment where construction costs are between 25 and 50% higher as well, and that's creating a lot of pressure on projects.
There's no ordinance for blight, for fining people? No.
Well, we have a nuisance ordinance. I would say it doesn't go very far. It's mostly about trash and grass. We have an unsafe structures ordinance, which would allow our building inspector essentially to condemn a property and order it demolished. But we really don't have effective policies that deal with blight in another way. We don't have a property condition ordinance, property maintenance ordinance, for example. Those are things that are definitely on our radar to craft. They just take a lot of time. And to try to model up an ordinance that is, works and is enforceable is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and frankly, I mean, an individual's property rights they're close to the top of the list on sacred rights in this country.
Definitely. I just don't think these are lived in.
Yeah, and it is quite difficult. We have gone through, in my time here, we've gone through probably 4 or 5 different demolitions,
Yeah.
where we've gone through the unsafe structure to do the demolitions. And again, and then the other issue there is to do the demolition. Well, somebody's got to outlay the money. It may get put on the tax roll, or maybe put places in lien, but it's often very difficult to recoup. So.
Well, and I'll maybe leave it at this, which is the Victoria Inn, which has been a blight on the East End for many, many years. Finally looks like it's getting some new life with a new owner. They have already come before, either already come or about to come before the Historic District Board of Review for their restoration plan, their exterior restoration plan. So there's a lot of positive momentum happening all over town, and particularly on the East End, and we'll just continue to chip away at it. You're welcome. Any additional remarks from the community? Those were all great. Thank you. I'll mention a few things before we close. You probably noticed that NDOT has redeployed back to the Bridgeport site to do milling and paving work. That'll take place over the course of the next couple of weeks, and then they'll be winding down. On the relative to this year's state budget, this year and next year's state budget, there was $500 million appropriated in the state budget that will be utilized to grant to regions across the state. City of Madison, in partnership with Jefferson County, we will be submitting what we believe would be worthwhile projects to the Southern Indiana Redevelopment Authority, which will then make an application to the Indiana Economic Development Commission for essentially competing to get our share of that $500 million. When a similar plan was done by the state probably about 5 or 6 years ago, much smaller, but it created a lot of leverage from private capital, which is what we try to do here as well, and turn that essentially, in this instance, $500 million into $2 or $3 billion worth of investment across the state. That program is called READY, which stands for Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative. So we are in the process, as I mentioned, working with the RDA to put together a regional development plan that will include projects that we believe would be of regional significance. The other thing that we're working on, and you'll see this on the next council agenda, which would be an ordinance to create the fund for the American Rescue Plan Act monies that the city of Madison will receive approximately $2.4 million. We're still working through that particular federal act on exactly how those monies can be spent. It looks in general like it is really earmarked for water, sewer, broadband, public safety, income replacement, those types of things. So we need to refine that. We'll have an ordinance in front of you next week in order to create the fund in which those monies will be deposited. We'll get it in 2 installments, half this year, half next year. Jefferson County will benefit as well. Hanover, literally all towns, cities, and counties across the state of Indiana will benefit from this plan, and the state of Indiana, I believe, received $2 billion, approximately $2 to $3 billion from that act. Bless you. From that act. So we're really at I think an important time in history where there's a lot of capital that is accessible to us, and what we need to do to be good stewards of that capital is leverage it up with private investment and really make that money go a longer way and be more impactful across our communities. That's why it's going to be important that we work with Jefferson County and we work with the other 4 counties as part of that 5-county RDA to make sure we're really bringing some impactful projects. I want to mention COVID response. Governor Holcomb did issue another executive order that extended the public health emergency until May the 31st. All of the mandates that were in last year's executive orders have been essentially converted into advisory level guidance. We're working closely with the health department to make sure that everybody knows that vaccinations and testing are both in ample supply. All of the protocols from the CDC are still operative, right, with regard to how we conduct ourselves personally, masking, social distancing, staying out of crowds, getting vaccinated, getting tested. All of those things are really, really important. And the reason I bring it up again is that we're heading into a very, very robust event season. The Board of Public Works has been entertaining literally dozens of event coordinators for Chautauqua, Regatta, fireworks, music festivals, car shows, music in the park, poker runs, you name it. I think just about every typical public event is going to come back online. The good news is all of those I mentioned are outdoor activities. So they will be much safer than any crowded indoor activity. So we just need to continue to be cognizant and cautious. May is also a very busy month with regards to appreciation months. So last weekend, Katie and I and Rick, we participated in a VFW ceremony for Loyalty Day. I would be remiss, and my wife's not here, but I will say it, May 6th through the 12th is Nurse Appreciation Week. So I'm definitely going to appreciate her at least that week, right? And this is Teacher Appreciation Week. There's so many, so all the teachers in the world, and in Madison, thank you for everything that you're doing. We are also celebrating our interns who have been interning with us over the spring. We've had some fantastic interns. So lots going on across the city and across the community. So thank you guys for all you're doing. Thank you all for all you're doing and being a part of it. And I will, I'll just leave it there, which is we continue to work hard and make improvement in a lot of different areas. And you know, Chief Wallace is a great example of literally having a vision for where he wanted public safety to go, and what you're seeing are the intentional outcomes of that vision and strategy. So, Chief, thank you for all that. Same thing true with our Fire Chief, Bill DeVries, who isn't here tonight, but the things they're doing for us, public safety-wise, is phenomenal, in my opinion. So I appreciate all the law enforcement in our community and all of our volunteer firemen, too. I'm happy to answer any questions from either the audience or council. If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting will be May 18th.
Mr. Mayor, it is also Public Service Employee Recognition Week as well.
Public Service Employee Recognition. Okay.
Well, that would encompass your police officers as well as your firefighters.
Yes. I think there's also a military appreciation month going on. May is very busy. And also, most important of all,
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day, coming up. Most important. None of us would be here without our mothers, FYI. Literally.
I bought my wife a new lawnmower.
There you go. That's the chief for you.
Doing it on Valentine's Day.
Well, I bought my wife a dishwasher for Christmas, so we're even. Anything else, council?
Nope. Okay, I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all, thank you.
Really good, she's excited about self-propelled and everything, yeah. She loves to cut the grass.
I got one here too, I bought one.
Did you see? Yeah, but she has one, but the self-propelled was going out. So, yeah, she was excited to get it. Sir? Good. You're in charge.